aggression and the threat of a Russian invasion of the Baltic states. NATO-Russia relations seem worse than at any time since the Cold War, with many fearing that the continued NATO escalation on the Russian frontier portends another protracted and costly period of massive tension with the Russians. Russian officials, for their part, dismissed the build-up as part of NATO's anti-Russia hysteria, saying the NATO leadership was absolutely short-sighted for continuing the moves. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov mocked NATO claims of Russian aggression, noting that we aren't the ones getting closer to NATO's borders. U.S. officials linked with NATO have been eagerly talking up the new acrimony, primarily seeing it as an excuse for increased military deployments and another chance to push NATO members in Europe into increasing their military spending, likely including buying costly U.S.-made arms. On the other hand, NATO's military leader, General Peter Pavel, dismissed the idea that Russia was about to invade, insisting no one in the alliance had any intelligence to suggest that as even a remote possibility, and adding that the build-ups are a political decision, not a military one. Ultimately, the biggest obstacle to making this another Cold War may be a financial one, as the threat of Russia is plainly illusory, with the Russian government spending less on their military than multiple NATO members by most measures. Sinking more money into militarizing NATO just does not make any sense, and many members are likely to go along with it. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a Wyoming woman discovered a dead body in a river while playing the virtual game Pokemon Go on Friday. The cell phone game encourages players to explore their surroundings and use their cell phone to catch the cartoon creatures that appear on their screen. Shayla Wiggins, 19, went to explore the river near her home in Riverton, Wyoming, when she discovered the dead body floating in the river. Wiggins told KTVQ, "I was walking towards the bridge along the shore when I saw something in the water. I had to take a second look, and I realized it was a body. The person, dressed in all black, was floating face down in about 3 feet of water, according to authorities. The person has not yet been identified." The Fremont County Sheriff's Office said in a statement the death appears to be accidental in nature and possibly that of drowning. There is no evidence at this time that it would indicate foul play. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Barack Obama urged Americans on Saturday not to view the United States as being driven into opposing groups, seeking to soothe raw emotions as a former U.S. soldier killed 5 policemen in Dallas and high-profile police shootings of 2 men in Minnesota and Louisiana. Obama, visiting Poland, told a news conference in Warsaw, "First of all, as painful as this week has been, I firmly believe that America is not as divided as some have suggested. When we start suggesting that somehow there's this enormous polarization and we're back to the situation in the 1960s, that's just not true." Obama added, "You're not seeing riots and you're not seeing police going after people who are protesting peacefully." Thursday's rally in Dallas followed the fatal police shootings of Philando Castile near St. Paul, Minnesota on Wednesday and Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Tuesday. Obama, who is cutting his European trip short on Sunday to visit Dallas, said he hopes he is able to get all Americans to understand the nation's difficult legacy of race. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
According to a new report released this week by the Pew Research Center, a rising number of weak, emasculated men are working as stay-at-home dads, with a steadily increasing number of feeble, pathetic fayboys choosing to spend their days cooking, cleaning, and performing other submissive duties.
Well, our findings indicate that more and more pussified half-men are not going to work, and instead are embarrassing themselves by purchasing groceries, packing children's lunches, and denying all aspects of their masculinity on a daily basis.
The Onion spoke to one of these effete, pathetic excuses for men to get his response on the new report.
I love being able to stay home with Angela. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
What a f***ing pussy. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. That is the point of Free Talk Live, though we also bring stuff in that we think you might find interesting, so we'll start with that, of course. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the Keene, New Hampshire studios tonight, it's Ian.
And Bud.
And Cody.
So, Mark is actually out at the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance Awards dinner this evening. He's emceeing the event, so hopefully we'll get to hear some good news from that at some point within the next couple of days. You can, of course, bring up anything that you want to discuss. We're going to talk about take a break from all the shootings, because there's been a lot of shootings in the last week.
It's been a lot.
And it has basically been the subject of conversation on this show for the last two shows, for the entirety of the show.
Ugh.
And it's pretty rare that a topic will stretch for the entirety of one episode of Free Talk Live, because we do a 3-hour per night live show on the radio. And, that's a lot of talking about cops and, shootings.
I imagine it would be pretty taxing to be just talking about such horrible stuff all the time,
Absolutely. So we're going to take a break from that. But you can, if you still got comments on that, you want to say something about it, you're always welcome. Phone lines are always open. So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Skype username is LRN.FM. But let's talk about something that is going to be more and more prevalent in our lives as, time goes on here. It's already started, and I'm talking about AI, artificial intelligence. The idea of programming people, if you will, or programming things to interact with people. They will likely look like people at some point. They already have humanoid-looking robots. They have robots with like a latex skin, they look as human as they possibly can for the technology that we have today.
Right.
We've got those things already. I mean, it's hard to believe that those things are already here, but they are. And so the levels of complexity are going to increase. The technology that makes them look real will also get better, and the complexity of their thoughts, of what they can do. That's where the Daily Mail is coming from here with their story about scientists they say are on the verge of creating an emotional computer, which is one of the things they say you can't do with artificial intelligence, or whoever they is.
Right.
Some people
you can
say
program it to do something, but you can't program it to feel.
Yeah. So, or maybe you can. Or at the very least, you can make it appear as though it's feeling things. How do you really know?
Right.
What is consciousness? So we can get into some deep questions here.
My initial thought is that they could probably get close enough that it might be passable to someone. But is it going to be the exact same thing?
Right. Is it going to be the authentic, real thing?
Right.
Is not so sure.
Could it be authentic, or is it just the closest thing we can get to it with code?
The story here begins from, again, dailymail.co.uk. Scientists are closer to creating a computer with emotions. Researchers in Russia are expected to reveal an emotional computer within a year and a half, which will be able to think like a person and build up trust, its creators say. The system, called Virtual Actor, is being created by the National Research Nuclear University in Moscow. Its name was given because one of the main functions it will serve will be an actor playing the role of a specific person. The researchers say will understand the context of what is going on, as well as keeping up with unfolding events.
Well, that's interesting, because acting in itself is quite an emotional process, isn't it? If you really are into the role and you're very close to it and develop it and stuff, it It involves emotion, I think.
Sure. I mean, I can. You would have to. I'm not an actor. I mean, I did a little bit of stage work when I was younger, but when you see an actor crying on command,
right.
there's got to be some sort of emotional wellspring that is coming from.
So it'd be interesting that they choose a role like that as its like almost debut, I think is what you were saying.
Well, I suspect it'll be a somewhat rudimentary debut. I mean, they're making it sound like it's going to be just this amazing technology, and I'm sure it will be amazing in a lot of ways, but maybe it'll be a little underwhelming. I mean, promises are it's a dime a dozen. It's easy to promise, but when they actually deliver, what's that going to end up looking like?
Right.
So the machine here, researchers say it'll understand the context, it'll keep up with unfolding events. The machine needs the ability to study not through programming or reinforcement learning, but as a thinking person, the researchers said. The machine itself must be able to set learning goals, formulate questions to achieve these goals, and actively seek the answers.
Oh, wow. So it's not actually like we're programming it to have certain responses to certain situations and reactions.
Right.
It's actually being programmed to think for itself.
That's the theory.
Right, yeah, and I think that's completely different than, what we had just briefly discussed about, being able to make it seem like it's acting on its own and actually being able to have it act on its own.
Right.
The researchers started by looking at how the human brain works. Professor Alexei Samsonovich from the cybernetics department says, our principal goal is to formulate the basic principles that natural intelligence in the human brain is built upon. Biological solutions are in many respects superior to artificial solutions in terms of their adaptability, learning ability, resistance to unexpected interventions, and so on. And we would like to model these principles on the computer, he said. The area of the brain responsible for memory, the hippocampus, uses neurons to perceive space. If the neurons are positioned along a certain plane, their activity will be focused on a certain point. The question is, do we have to reproduce millions of neurons, tens of thousands of connections between each of them, and hundreds of thousands of millions of ion channels just to represent two numbers? Professor Samsonovich said. I'm sure that existing computers, their parameters in terms of speed and memory and volume, are already sufficient for creating humanoid intelligence. The researchers also plan to create the agent in a simplified form as a computer game. The researcher said a virtual agent and a real person control the figures on a computer screen, interacting with each other, thus building social rapport based on emotionally charged actions. I can tell you right now that the level of artificial intelligence in computer games is still pretty rudimentary.
Yeah.
They get caught on things. If they're trying to walk around, they'll get stuck sometimes, or if you're far enough away from them, they don't see you. Things like that.
Can't ever get the NPCs to behave.
Yeah, I mean, it's better now than it's been in the past, and that's certainly going to continue to get better. But it's not really impressive in most video games.
Not yet. Not yet.
Some of them have good tactics. Like if you're in a game that's like a first-person shooter or something like that, they've been programmed to flank you or whatever. They've been programmed to do certain things in response to where you are or what you're doing. But it's still pretty basic. I mean, these are not advanced AI. But they're talking about an AI that could actually learn something here, and that seems like a big deal. They let's see here. They can attack, welcome, give away, help move a stone, and so on, he says. An action or any action has an emotional connotation, as a result of which certain relations develop, such as trust, subordination, leadership, etc. If a person in the virtual world is unable to tell man from machine, this goes to show that we've reached a human level, albeit in a limited sense. And I think that's true.
Yeah.
Is that the Turing test that they're referring to there? The idea that you could ask a machine or an artificial intelligence a series of questions and sort of determine whether or not from its answers. I'm sure I'm misstating exactly what the Turing
whether
test
or not
is.
It's intelligent.
Yeah, whether or not it actually has intelligence. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, maybe you're following the development of artificial intelligence closely and you've got some opinions about this plan that they're talking about here. Again, a Russian university planning on releasing some sort of emotional artificial intelligence sometime next year. He says, quote, I very much hope that artificial intelligence will be free of human flaws. Now, before I go on with his quote, it would seem that by its nature, in the beginning at least, artificial intelligence will certainly not be free of human flaws because it's humans who are programming it.
Right.
So what will that manifest into? If humans are flawed, and they certainly are, and they create this artificial intelligence that is flawed but can learn.
It's a paradox.
What will end up happening there? Will it sort of rise above its station in life and actually become more intelligent? Or will those flaws manifest into some sort of dangerous situation? Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. More about AI. You're welcome to share your thoughts on Free Talk Live.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-941-9483. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-941-9483. That's 1-800-941-9483.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
This is Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the program. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. When will it get to the point where you really won't be able to discern the difference between a human being and an artificially intelligent robot, a computer? We're not there yet, but I bet you it'll be within our lifetime.
Right. I'm curious what sort of repercussions that sort of technology is going to have on society.
It's a big, big question because, I mean, they already, of course, have sex bots. Those already exist. There are, I mean, I've never seen one in real life, but I know that they have like full-size human robot things that I don't know if they just lay there or if they do more than that. But they do have that exists. I suspect that there's like no interaction between you and it, but then again, I've never really looked deeply into.
Right, but imagine if there was an emotional.
They are getting pretty realistic nowadays with that stuff.
So you've investigated this.
Not deeply, not deeply. Like I'm looking to make a purchase or anything, but
they're expensive too, right? I mean, thousands of dollars or something like that.
I mean, we're not talking about blow up dolls.
No.
Well,
the next level of that.
Now imagine if that sex robot, right, had emotions and was able to show those emotions, because sexual interactions are very emotionally charged, and I wonder.
Well, I think some people are going to want that, and others won't. Some people are going to want the robot that doesn't have any emotions, that they could just sort of
do their thing,
have sex with, and then leave, sit there in the bedroom, go to work.
Yep.
Others are going to want to have the kind of robot that could replace a human being, someone that wants to snuggle afterwards.
And I'm curious if maybe you would be able to alter emotional things that you didn't like, or if it was like, all right, this is what you got, now you got to deal with it.
Yeah, that's interesting. What level of programming ability will you have?
Because, it is a program in essence, so...
Well, and this, there's a larger discussion here of what does it mean to be human? And if you can't tell the difference between a robot and a human, has that thing reached the level of humanity? Well, I mean, then you start to talk about consciousness and what is consciousness? Are you just a bag of meat with some electrical impulses flashing around in your brain, or is there something more to who you really are?
Right. You know what else this is going to lead to? This is going to lead to robot rights activists.
You better believe it will. And I think that's an important question, is if these things can have emotions. Again, I don't know what it'll mean to say that, or how you will determine whether it has emotions or if it's just acting as though it does. Then at what point should those things have rights? At what point, where? On this AI spectrum, where we're at right now, the robots are running into walls and, they're not really with it. But 10 years, 20 years from now, at what point do they get the same level of recognition as human beings? These are going to be huge conversations that people are going to have in the future, I suspect.
It's going to be super controversial, too, because, I mean, from each end of the argument, it seems justified. Like, oh, yeah, they could, by all means, have their own rights and whatnot because they are artificially intelligent, but they're continuously thinking on their own. So, why not let them exercise that,
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear from somebody, who wants to jump into the conversation, especially if you're against the idea of robot rights. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, or if you strongly favor it. I would really like to hear arguments on both sides, because I think you're right, Bud, that there's, persuasive cases to be made on both sides of this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm wondering, though. Couldn't they just program the robot to not have a fear of death, not really worried about when that time comes where they're dismantled, or
the new universal soldier, right? Like send him into combat because he can think and make decisions on his own
without fear.
But he has no fear. Yeah.
So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We've got Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. Well, if it doesn't have fear, if it has other emotions but it doesn't have fear, it's pretty much a crippled thing, right? I mean,
in essence, I would say so. I think that a lot of the reasons we make the decisions that we make based on, or throughout the day are based on a degree of fear in one way or another.
Although certainly I think it's a good thing to get people away from fear. I mean, fear is a killer. Right. Fear will hold you in a place of lack of lack of risk, for instance. If you don't take risk, then you can't really have that much success. Fear holds people back from that. The desire of having, like a paycheck tomorrow is something that keeps people working in a job for another person rather than striking out on their own.
Well, going on that line of thought, I mean, you follow it along, and what could be the end result? Could it be a robot that supersedes us because we have fear?
Right.
Maybe eventually controls us.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, so if the robots can defeat fear, or if it's not even programmed into them to where they understand it in the first place, although eventually you'd think they would try to understand, right? Like if the robot didn't have fear and it was learning, and the purpose of the robot was to learn, it would certainly observe humans expressing fear, and then it would, wonder
and then
why.
What would happen when, all of a sudden somebody isn't considerate and upsets one of these robots, and all of a sudden now you have a bunch of robots that have no fear that really are upset with you.
Well, of course, the classic, Hollywood plot is that the robots basically determine that humans are unnecessary at this point. Well, we've gotten to the point now where our artificial intelligence can upgrade itself. We can we have robots that will fix the robots, so we don't need humans to fix us anymore. Exactly what do we need these things for?
Batteries.
And that's the Matrix. Yep. So, I hope we don't go down that road. I would love to see a future with robots being, side by side with humans, helping humans, and vice versa. But certainly, if humans are oppressing robots and robots start to have emotions, then they might get sick and tired of being slaves, just like humans got sick and tired of it.
And we're like that sometimes. We can be real pushy sometimes.
So 21% of British people said they would have sex with a robot. And 1 in 3 would go on a date with a robot. Surveyed by Voucher Codes Pro, who has 2,816 sexually active Brits, aged 18 to, doesn't say when, to describe, or age 18 apparently, only 18-year-olds, to describe which activities they would then carry out with a cyborg. Researchers asked those participants who said they would have sex with a robot why they would do it. 72% said they thought the robots would be very good at it, while 28% said it would be a new experience.
They might be onto something there.
Well, once again, if you can defeat fear, then that would probably have an effect on your confidence in bed, presumably. So, what do you think, guys? Would you have sex with a robot?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
It would probably be one of those situations where if you couldn't tell the difference, you probably would.
Right.
If you knew it in advance.
Yeah, and those situations exist today in a different context.
That's true.
So who knows? Might be surprised one day.
Yeah, I would say I'd keep an open mind about it.
But honestly, I don't want any kids, so that might be an option.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. One of the quotes here from the professor who's doing the research, I want to finish that quote. I started it earlier. He says, I hope artificial intelligence will be free of human flaws. And we'll see what else he has to say here in moments. And you can join us as well. 855-450-FREE. These are questions that are likely going to be discussed quite a bit into the future.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. we find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $1.50 lower at $1,362 per ounce, and silver is 20 cents higher at $19.94 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $649 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Look, we're going to have robots in the future. I mean, that's something that's inevitable. They're already doing things like vacuuming our homes in some cases. There's little vacuum bots that you can buy. The Roomba, and there's some competitors to it now. Prices have come down on that as well. I mean, the Roomba's been around for a decade.
Well,
it's
old
tech.
Most stuff that's, really, really new is really nice and expensive, and then,
it comes down when it gets popular enough. And so, I definitely want to see more on the scale of robots. I would prefer to see more sex bots and cleaning bots than bomb bots and gun bots.
I'm not in a rush to see RoboCop become a reality.
That's we're darn close to that. They just blew up the shooting suspect in Dallas. The guy that shot allegedly like 5.
Oh yeah, with the bomb bot.
Yeah, they strapped a bomb to what is normally a robot that is used to go in and look at bombs where, the cops don't want to get too close to it.
Right.
Well, in this case, they took the same robot, strapped a bomb to it, and sent it in there.
Mission.
Yeah, on a suicide mission. So that's pretty scary stuff. We can talk more about that here in a moment. You can join us with your thoughts on artificial intelligence. There are some scientists over in Russia that claim they're going to have a virtual actor who they expect to be online within the next year and a half. It could very well learn. It could have emotions. But what does all that mean? What does it mean for a robot to have emotions? It's one thing for a scientist to say, our robot will be like a human. And it's another thing to actually experience it and see how realistic it is, how persuasive that it is in fooling people that it's a human. Let's go to, we can go to your calls and thoughts here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But whether robots come sooner or later, one thing that's happening right now is the rise of digital currencies, of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether and Dash and Dogecoin and all these different altcoins, as they're called. Well, CoinCap.io is a great app and website that allows you to follow along with your favorite digital assets. Maybe you've got some Bitcoin or you've got some Ether and you want to kind of keep an eye on the price. Well, CoinCap.io does a great job at that. Plus, they've even got an interesting feature called the Altfolio, where you can tell it how many of the different types of coins you have, and it'll tell you what the whole amount of them is worth. It's an interesting app, and it's really handy to get the latest price information on your favorite altcoins and Bitcoin. Go to CoinCap.io. It's CoinCap.io. And, of course, there's an actual app that you can download through the Apple Store or Google Play Store, or just go to their website, CoinCap.io. As we continue, it's Ian, Bud, and Cody in the studio here tonight. Final quote here from one of the scientists that's been researching this proposed new artificial intelligence that he claims may have the ability to have some sort of level of emotion. He says, quote, "I very much hope that artificial intelligence will be free of human flaws. Now, amid the development of biological and genetic weapons, artificial intelligence is the most harmless of upcoming discoveries. I believe it will be a major step forward, a big event for humankind." Now, if you contrast that statement with statements of people like, I believe, Bill Gates and, who is the gentleman in the chair? Stephen Hawking. Yep. Stephen Hawking, he's apparently pretty afraid of the future of artificial intelligence. It's my understanding he published some sort of paper not too long ago, or maybe it was one of his books, where he expresses some serious concern for what might happen with the rise of artificial intelligence. You guys were touching on it earlier.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, life, our consciousness, had millions of years to develop and, organically become what it is, perfected over time, So to create a system that is self-aware, I think you're just asking for problems, at least at first. If we could keep a rein on it and, keep close tabs on it, but then you got to bring resources to the table for that, and who's going to do that, and
so many movies have explored these ideas, right, with dire consequences.
Right? Do they ever end well?
Will reality mimic art in this case, or will it be a much more peaceful, existence between humans and robots?
I think for some time it would definitely have a peaceful aspect to it, but I think it's inevitable over time that something happened. It's just, you just can't go for hundreds of years with just peace and perfection all the time.
It would be wonderful.
The chaos variable is
It's just, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's got to be people who disagree. People are going to disagree. What happens when the robots disagree?
Right.
Could the robots square off?
Should we just build things under the bomb shelters and stuff and just hide while
prepare for the robot war?
While they oh man, this.
Could that happen? I mean, where, some robots decide they like their humans and they want to keep them around, but other robots are saying, no, get rid of these humans. They're useless. All they do is eat and poop. We don't want to have anything to do with them.
I'm waiting for the Twitter campaign, #RobotLivesMatter, when all that happens.
I hope
now.
I hope they're all like Bender.
From Futurama?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have a drink with Bender.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to look at here, and it is interesting, when media explores these things, because there are going to be humans who react differently. So, the robots might react differently. There's no reason to believe they'll all be part of one Skynet, that there might be differences between the robots.
Right, that seems inevitable because they're not all going to learn the same thing.
They'll be programmed differently, and they'll learn different things.
If you're a robot, and if you have one and I have one, they're not going to, have the same experience as themselves.
Just like a dog.
Right, exactly. Or just like us, like people, But
so, looking at what people's reactions could be, you're going to have the anti-technology people, the Luddites, the people who refuse to adopt any kind of technology. They don't have a smartphone. They don't have a computer. They certainly aren't going to want to have a robot when robots come around.
Seems likely.
You're going to have people who are saying there's some sort of ethical problem with creating these things that to have emotions, to mimic humans, that there's ethical problems there, because then if you're enslaving them, then what about their rights?
Right, exactly.
Maybe you'll have the Robot Liberation Front. Have you ever heard of the Animal Liberation Front? It's a group of like radical lefties who literally will break into like scientific laboratories and set animals that are caged in there free, which is total property rights violation. They shouldn't be doing that. Sometimes they'll like burn the place down or whatever. It's my understanding. They've done some really crazy stuff. So are we going to have robot liberationists, people who see that the robots are being kept against their will, supposedly, or at least they believe that it's against their will, and so they go in and set the robots free? What if the robots don't leave then?
Yeah, or what about on the other end of the spectrum, and the robots realize that our government is absolutely horrible and tries taking us over to make a better one? Like what are we going to do then? Now we're a robot society government.
It's all possible. Where it'll all end up, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can join us at 855-450-FREE. It's not the first plan, by the way, to build an emotional robot. According to the Daily Mail, Sony announced earlier this year that it's on a mission to make a robot capable of forming an emotional bond. And that's a big deal. I mean, if you think about the emotional bond that you have with your pet or your loved ones, the people that are closest to you in your life.
I'm just curious how effective that is, breaking it into an algorithm. Like,
here's what I'm wondering. If you believe that reality is broken down into a series of different vibrations at different frequencies, then maybe for artificial intelligence to have emotions, then really all it's doing is
vibrating?
Being able to sense the vibration of, here's the vibration of love, here's the vibration of fear, anger, everything else. And
if you could get a robot to sense those things, that'd be pretty amazing.
Right. So, it could be argued that there is a mathematical, scientific property to every aspect of nature that we live in our consciousness, and all of the unexplained spiritual, religious stuff. Right now we consider those mystical experiences mystical because we don't have the scientific capacity to put numbers to it.
Right.
But it does seem like more and more with like quantum physics and other things that we're getting closer to being able to figure out the mechanics of the natural, reality. And once we get there, then the synthetic robotic one might be up to par, if not better.
See where you're coming from. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. We can get into this deeper, or you can bring up whatever's on your mind. You can take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care, as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. It's 1-800-704-6182.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country.
Yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. If you create a thing, is that thing always subservient to you? Well, no, of course not, right? Like people create kids all the time, and in many ways, their children, even though they may be little or whatever, they can somehow, sometime at some point in their lives, exceed their parents' ability to do certain things,
right?
To interact in this world. Like, for instance, young people today are far better with computers, mostly on average, than older people are. So, if we look at the same question when it comes to our robot creations, many people will say, well, we created you, so, you should always be our servant. But how many times in life does the servant become the master? Or does the student become the master? And so, how there's going to be this big conflict between a group of people that want to keep robots as servants and another group of them that want to see robots be emancipated.
Right. And I mean, I can see it, justifiably from both sides, because, up till now, we've essentially been using robots as servants.
That's right.
But they're not consciously aware either.
Presumably not.
So
we're not there yet. But that's the big question: is when they are able to say, "I can feel."
Right. Does that draw the line between now we need to stop using you for cheap production, and do we have to start robot?
Let's go to Dan in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live, listening to Kiva in Albuquerque. Hey, Dan.
Hello. I saw a movie back in the 70s. You guys are so young, you don't know this. Maybe you have heard of it. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
No.
And what it was, it's really cool. You Google it. I saw it a few years back. And what it did is this guy in America built a computer, and then that would take care of everything. And then a guy in Russia built a computer that would do the same thing. It was called the Guardian. And then ultimately the computer killed off the guy that built Guardian in Russia and took over the life of the guy Forbin, who built the computer in America. And so that's the way this thing's going to come down. It's not going to be an autonomous object that you can, catch and put in a prison. It's just the computer itself took over the structure of the country. It's a pretty neat story, and it really is.
So what you're saying there, I want to make sure I'm interpreting correctly what you're saying. You couldn't keep this thing in a pen because it's programming, it's code, it's something that exists on a network, the internet, for instance. It could infect something else. If it's in that toaster, now it's over there, in that robot, or it's in 50 different robots.
And what it did, and this is going back, 100 years ago. I'm talking about the late 70s when I saw this movie. But what it did is it made the owner put cameras in his building and everything, and had complete control. It eventually took complete control over the guy, and then eventually it took over, I guess, the Earth. You have to check it out because it really is cool.
How did the robot take over the guy?
By making him put cameras in his house. And
so he took over his life, essentially controlled him, or took him over actually physically took him over. Okay.
Not physically, but I don't know if you use the word emotionally, but the Forbin guy said, I have to be allowed to be alone when I'm defecating. And so the computer said, okay.
It seems fair.
So it was kind of like the only place he could have a secret meeting was in the bathroom.
And what was it called again? Colossus the what?
Colossus the Forbin Project.
Forbin. Spell Forbin for me.
Yeah, and it's not a long movie. I thought it was a long movie when I saw it as a child, but when I saw it maybe 10 years ago, it was only an hour long or something. It may have
short
even
film.
been a television movie. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for the recommendation. What do you see coming, though? Dan, you want to take a crack at the future of artificial intelligence?
Yeah. I say that, the intelligence is going to eventually, this phone that I'm holding in my hand knows everything I do, where I go, how many steps I take. It knows way too much, but there's no way to pull the camel's nose out of the tent.
That's true.
So what we're going to have to do as humans, because we're smarter than AI, is we're going to have to make sure that actually emotions do ultimately control us. That's all. That's the only thing I had to say.
Would you be pro robot lives?
I don't think I can. Pro what?
Would you be pro robot lives?
Yeah, I'm kind of Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, my dog lives matter to me. Aborted children matter to me. So it's not really a life because it doesn't have a heartbeat. So.
Well, that's a big question. Is what is it? How do you determine what a life is? Is a beating heart life? No, of course not. You can have a beating heart without any kind of consciousness surrounding it, and you can have a heart outside of a body and hook up electrodes to it or whatever and
make it beat.
So no, that's not it. Brains need to.
You know what? You are really talking the future because you are right there. Because you could create a beating heart outside of even a person or a pig or a whatever.
Right. The beating heart is just a way to pump blood to your brain. You can, as long as you've got fresh oxygen going to that brain, it should still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
People die when they die because their brain, as I understand it, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but it's my understanding they don't die until the brain is without oxygen for a certain period of time. And so heart failure will result in that happening. Dan, good call, man. I appreciate you jumping into the discussion with us here, and thank you for it. The toll-free number, if you want to join us about the future of artificial intelligence, technology, robots, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
Here's one thing that's going to put AI at a very large advantage over human intelligence, at least right now. So I feel like we see the internet as the start of this, but when AI starts to develop, they're going to be able to have immediate and direct access to this collective consciousness, this server, this basically the robot god, which is going to be a way to tap into the collective intelligence.
So,
of
like
every,
Wikipedia, for instance.
Right. So
or Wiki.
Every robot intelligence will be able to immediately tap in to the collective knowledge of every single other robot intelligence.
That's true.
And so every time one robot learns
While
something,
we're still tapping away on our phone.
He's going to be able to upload that knowledge directly to that mass server of information that anybody can tap into.
So when one learns, they all learn.
Right. So so they're going to be able to evolve intellectually, emotionally, whatever it is, at a very rapid pace, because human beings, that connection to the idea of God, the collective consciousness, we're entirely separated from that as a species, pretty much unless you take a high dose of psychedelics.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, there have been times where people have had shared hallucinations, but for the most part, the illusion of separation is very persistent here.
Yep.
Now, I mean, I think the three of us here have similar philosophies when it comes to the world around us.
Quite similar, actually.
And what is reality, and what is God, and the universe is God, and all that. I don't know where I was going with that. But you can join us here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Oh, I guess what I was saying is, we believe that people are connected, that everyone and everything is connected. Please correct me if I'm putting words in your mouth. I don't want to be.
Yeah. We are. We just don't want to believe we are.
Well, yeah, and it's hard to, right, because there's plenty of humans who don't believe that, who, they believe they're separate from everyone else, and they're separate from God, and they're just this little thing here, and then they have an insignificant life.
You can't really teach them either, because words don't teach, experience teaches.
Yeah, you can say it all you want, and then just look at you like you crazy drug addicts.
You go, you'll get it one day.
I hope, right? Yeah, if you love the person, you hope that they will see something at some point that'll change their mind on it.
And the interesting thing that you can get from number one, having those psychedelic experiences, but also taking the time to really put the research into spirituality and science and the connection of the two, you start realizing that there is a mathematical nature to the structure of reality. And the more we understand that, the crazier things are going to get.
Well, and the robots get math, right? Like they're going to be able to understand that.
That's like
quick.
their thing.
And and they're gonna be able to manipulate it in crazy ways. So.
Toll-free number tonight. You can join us here. Hour number 2 is on the way. Robots, the future of artificial intelligence. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,366 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $649. Antiwar.com reports all efforts to make this weekend's Warsaw Summit about the Brexit appears to have failed, and the U.S. has shifted NATO's focus back to increasing military buildups in Eastern Europe, all the while harping on about Russian aggression and the threat of a Russian invasion of the Baltic states. NATO-Russia relations seem worse than at any time since the Cold War, with many fearing that the continued NATO escalation on the Russian frontier portends another protracted and costly period of massive tension with the Russians. Russian officials, for their part, dismissed the build-up as part of NATO's anti-Russia hysteria, saying the NATO leadership was absolutely short-sighted for continuing the moves. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov mocked NATO claims of Russian aggression, noting that we aren't the ones getting closer to NATO's borders. U.S. officials linked with NATO have been eagerly talking up the new acrimony, primarily seeing it as an excuse for increased military deployments and another chance to push NATO members in Europe into increasing their military spending, likely including buying costly U.S.-made arms. On the other hand, NATO's military leader, General Peter Pavel, dismissed the idea that Russia was about to invade, insisting no one in the alliance had any intelligence to suggest that as even a remote possibility, and adding that the build-ups are a political decision, not a military one. Ultimately, the biggest obstacle to making this another Cold War may be a financial one, as the threat of Russia is plainly illusory, with the Russian government spending less on their military than multiple NATO members by most measures. Sinking more money into militarizing NATO just does not make any sense, and many members are likely to go along with it. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a Wyoming woman discovered a dead body in a river while playing the virtual game Pokemon Go on Friday. The cell phone game encourages players to explore their surroundings and use their cell phone to catch the cartoon creatures that appear on their screen. Shayla Wiggins, 19, went to explore the river near her home in Riverton, Wyoming, when she discovered the dead body floating in the river. Wiggins told KTVQ, "I was walking towards the bridge along the shore when I saw something in the water. I had to take a second look, and I realized it was a body. The person, dressed in all black, was floating face down in about 3 feet of water, according to authorities. The person has not yet been identified." The Fremont County Sheriff's Office said in a statement the death appears to be accidental in nature and possibly that of drowning. There is no evidence at this time that it would indicate foul play. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Barack Obama urged Americans on Saturday not to view the United States as being driven into opposing groups, seeking to soothe raw emotions as a former U.S. soldier killed 5 policemen in Dallas and high-profile police shootings of 2 men in Minnesota and Louisiana. Obama, visiting Poland, told a news conference in Warsaw, "First of all, as painful as this week has been, I firmly believe that America is not as divided as some have suggested. When we start suggesting that somehow there's this enormous polarization and we're back to the situation in the 1960s, that's just not true." Obama added, "You're not seeing riots and you're not seeing police going after people who are protesting peacefully." Thursday's rally in Dallas followed the fatal police shootings of Philando Castile near St. Paul, Minnesota on Wednesday and Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Tuesday. Obama, who is cutting his European trip short on Sunday to visit Dallas, said he hopes he is able to get all Americans to understand the nation's difficult legacy of race. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after members of the New York Police Department found a super sharp Buck brand pocket knife earlier this morning, Lieutenant Joseph Mattioli spoke to Onion reporters at the scene of the discovery to update the public on this potentially deadly blade.
At 8:40 a.m., police discovered what seems to be a pretty badass buck knife. Investigators believe it to be basically the deadliest knife ever.
Mattioli confirmed that the pretty cool wood-handled knife has a clean edge and added that the blade must be, quote, at least like 8 inches long.
At this time, we'd like everyone to be aware that there's probably a man out there with an eye patch and scars all over his face that has access to these knives, or maybe even a samurai sword. We urge people to be careful when approaching him because he may flip out and chop both your arms off before you even realize it.
Following the announcement, Mattioli asked people to come forward if they had any information about the owner of the knife or if they just wanted to hold it for a couple of seconds. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the second hour of the live Sunday edition of the show. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. There's going to be a lot of questions that people are going to have to answer, and there are going to be different answers, of course, because, well, people are different. They've got radically different opinions regarding the future of artificial intelligence,
right?
Robots.
But at the same time, everyone's entitled to their own opinion as well.
They are, which is why we're here to hear your opinions, because we've got them on this show, and I think our opinions are kind of similar in the area of consciousness and, you know, what does it mean to be a human and what is God? And we can talk about some of those things because they're going to come into play when it comes to the idea of robots being conscious, robots having rights, robots being more than just a servant, or just something that exists to accomplish a task.
Yeah, I can totally get down with the talk on consciousness.
We're going to do that. We can continue the discussion. I mean, it can be a deep discussion. It can also just be surface level of, you know, the kind of the Hollywood question of, are they going to kill us all? That's sort of the big question about robots. But given that they aren't going to kill us all, then there's going to be all kinds of disagreements among humans as to how to treat them and, you know, what to do about robot rights, so to speak. So we're going to continue that discussion. It's Ian, Bud, and Cody here on a live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. Let's talk to Justin in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Justin.
How's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Nothing. I just I hate to burst the bubbles, but I think human civilizations have been, you know, getting advanced, like Atlantis, and then some natural disaster comes out and wipes everything out. And I think before artificial intelligence gets to the point where it could take over the world, do all these things, I think we'll have some kind of cataclysm to where it would stop its development or even stop it from being able to do what it needs to do because it has to face the universe just like we do.
What do they call that in movies? Is that the Deus Ex Machina or something like that, where there's this thing that comes from the outside and just completely changes the direction of the plot of the film? That's kind of what you're saying is going to happen here, is that, you know, we won't have to worry about robots when there's an asteroid that strikes the Earth and you know, blots out the sun.
Right.
Exactly.
And there's the possibility, too. I mean, there's the possibility that we could really screw up so bad with our society that we have to start again from scratch. Like, imagine the next major world war where the bombs go off and then we just go back to sticks and stones. Well, then we don't have to worry about artificial intelligence again for a long time.
Well, you said it's possible, but is it probable? I don't think it is.
And you know...
Well, I think there's quite a few advanced civilizations that have existed throughout time, and, you know, they just easily get erased. Like the Mayan, so much of the Mayan Empire, the Aztec, they just get swallowed up so quickly that, or the Pythagorean theorem, or that thing they found off Greece. And, you know, there's just a lot of civilizations that...
I mean, it does entirely seem possible that something will happen that'll, you know, come and cause a paradigm shift.
Well, given that it doesn't, what then?
Right. Let's speculate on what if it doesn't. What if we do create these robots and they're actually, you know, a force in society that, you know, should be recognized if not, you know, for how they act, for, you know, if anything, for what they can do and emotional status and whatnot. Do you have any opinion on that?
It's extremely dangerous. Yeah, I agree with Stephen Hawking when he says, about how his encounters with aliens, if something's more advanced than you or better than you, you probably don't want to create it. I think it'll be, you know, like a Pandora's box.
But that box is going to get opened. I mean, look, maybe you don't want to create it, but there's somebody out there who does want to create the thing that can learn on its own, the thing that doesn't need a human to. And thanks, Justin, for your call tonight, man. I'll let you get back to the road there. Drive safe. The thing that, you know, doesn't need to have humans upgrade it. Right now, you know, when you get from one version of a program to another, it requires the human being to program the bug fixes into the next version of that program.
Oh, and that could be another variable too. What if we make them conscious enough that they, you know, make their own decisions and they decide they don't want an upgrade? You know, and sometimes we have, you know, these robots that are a little out of date in programming running around, and you know, like, is it going to be mandatory that we have to like capture and round up all these robots? And
yeah, it's an interesting question. Now, of course, I mean, in theory, those updates would be able to be given wirelessly. They wouldn't necessarily have to jack into something.
Fair enough,
in order
but
to do that.
I mean, what if they consciously want to detach from that uplink? You know,
or you know, there's that direction. Maybe sort of the robot version of a Luddite. Right, like a self-hating robot. That could be something, right? You know,
I think it's inevitable that there's at least one robot that's self-hating if it's conscious.
They're just happy with the current OS. You know, the upgrade's got a bunch of bugs.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's like people still running Windows XP, no difference.
But then also on the other hand, one of the big things that you'll hear discussed with the transhumanists of that point where artificial intelligence is able to upgrade itself, no longer needing human input whatsoever, to actually, you know, take it to the next level.
Yeah, and then that kind of gets a little sketchy to think of, because who's saying what they're being upgraded to do? Updated to do? What, you know, if we're not making the rules for them to follow by, then who is? And, you know, is that something that we're going to have to worry about?
Yeah, you gotta wonder, like, what is their intelligence working towards? Is it developing an ability to tap into a higher dimension? Is it robot enlightenment? Like, you know,
is it all going to be one thing, or will there be a variety of approaches, a variety of robot interests? Will they all think the same way, or not? I don't think they will.
And I was kind of wondering this too, you know, as far as the question of, are robots going to be subservient to the people that created them?
For a time.
Well, I do wonder this. So if you are of the belief that there is some sort of source consciousness that is at the source of humanity, and people coming together and creating this synthetic reality.
Not just the source of humanity, but the source of everything.
So really, you could almost argue that cosmic, unexplainable God force is really the one that created the robot reality to begin with.
Sure.
Because the people connected to that were the ones that created the robots.
Right.
So, so does that make them connected to that? Does it, like...
Yeah.
Which seems great, because, you know, that would be a unique experience, and, you know, causes unique growth and understanding. So, I mean, it totally seems logical that, you know, the beings of the universe would want to do that because it's something new.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, though. Like the fact that people who are connected to source created these things that ultimately, if we're all connected, are also connected to that source at some level. How do you determine its consciousness?
So they're somehow. So I think what I'm kind of thinking right now is we're almost looking at it like it's a whole separate thing. But even this, kind of separate interworking of robot consciousness is still coming back to a main point that we as humans are all connected to.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if you look at an animal, Jazzy, for instance, our studio dog.
Awesome.
It would be hard for someone to argue that Jazzy's not a conscious being, that she doesn't have feelings, or that she doesn't have things that she wants, or that she can't communicate with you, that she's just some sort of instinctual thing that doesn't think. Obviously, she's not. She's very smart, and I can connect with Jazzy on a level.
Yeah, she communicates very effectively.
Sure
with
does.
you, yeah.
Yep.
So she can't take a test. Jazzy can't take the Turing test to determine the Turing test, which I was actually pretty close on my definition. According to Google, the Turing test is a test for intelligence in a computer requiring that a human being should be unable to distinguish the machine from another human being by using the replies to the questions put to both. So to some beings, we can't test them that way. But once machines are able to pass the Turing test, then what does that mean? We've got some interesting things that are coming out in the media, including the trailer for Westworld, which I'm pretty excited about. We'll play the audio from it here because it does touch on some of these questions, and I think that series, it's going to be an HBO series based on a movie, a Michael Crichton movie from the 1970s, which I've actually not seen, but maybe you've got some comments on just the whole idea of artificial intelligence, where we're going from here, what's it going to look like. There's big questions here on the nature of consciousness. What does it mean, to be human versus robot? What's the difference? Will there be a difference over time? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And what will it do to relationships? We talked about having sex with robots. What will happen to human relationships when humans aren't necessary anymore?
I thought Facebook was bad.
It's free, right? It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA-certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Virgin Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. We're talking about the future of robots, technology, artificial intelligence. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for human beings and how we interact with them? Because you will be interacting more with them in the future unless you are a total Luddite and completely swear off interacting with any robots. Maybe we'll end up seeing Luddite communities forming where robots aren't allowed. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We don't want your kind around here. 855-450-3733. Coming up, Mark, our co-host Mark Edge, is going to Freedom Fest. It's happening, actually, this week, July 13th through the 16th. Lots of people are going to be there, including Libertarian Party presidential candidate Gary Johnson, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Rand Paul, John Mackey, and many more. You can go to freedomfest.com, use code FTL in all caps. It's the first time we've ever had that. You have to use all capital letters for FTL, and you will get a discount on your tickets for Freedom Fest. So go to freedomfest.com and use code FTL when you order. It's July 13th through the 16th at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas, coming up this week. So don't miss that. It sounds like a lot of fun. I've actually never been to Vegas, but any excuse to go to Vegas and hang out with some freedom people sounds like a good time. So go and meet Mark. He's going to be there for the entire thing. In fact, he already came by today to get some of the remote equipment. He's going to be doing some interviews of some people out there. It's freedomfest.com with code FTL in all capital letters for the discount. Let's go to the phones to the fun. And, maybe we can tie, I know, Cody, you said we should talk about animal rights. Since we're talking about robot rights, let's tie it all in here. Let's go first, though, to George in Georgia. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, George.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
First of all...
Do me a favor. I'm sorry to interrupt, George. Just back off your microphone a couple inches for me.
Okay. Is that better?
I think so. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, how old are you guys?
I am almost 36.
I'm 27.
26. So you're a little bit you're a little bit older than my boys, okay?
All right.
Now, I have seen a lot in my life, okay? I grew up on military bases. I've been inside missile silos. I've seen technology when I was like 12, and I'm almost 60, okay? So the robot thing you guys were talking about and everything is nothing new. I mean, we got stuff out there that you guys don't even know about, okay?
What is that supposed to mean?
My father was very high up in the military, and he told me some things before he passed away that is pretty... I mean, we've already got a bunch of stuff that the general public doesn't even know about.
I believe that. I really believe that the government is probably 50 years ahead of
I don't believe
in technology, ahead of what the public knows.
Well, look, the government's incompetent for the most part. I mean, they can't do anything
we
right.
got this thing called the Hammer of Thor. Okay,
What's that?
that it's this damn thing that can zoom in on somebody the size of a golf ball and all of a sudden heat the ground up to 3,000 degrees in 2 seconds and incinerate them completely. Okay,
That's violent.
it's called the Hammer of Thor.
And how
Okay.
long has that thing been in existence?
Since about the mid '80s.
So is this a satellite or something?
Yeah, it was built during the Reagan administration for the Sky thing.
So
Okay.
this is like a secret, right? So they've never actually proven publicly that this thing exists, or
Well, it would have to be to have a camera
not
like
that I know
that
of.
during
Not
that
that I
time
know
period.
of, but not that I know of. But anyways.
So you
But as
you
far
believe
as,
it, even though you haven't seen it.
Isn't the conspiracy theory that what is it?
no,
Google's
listen,
going to
listen,
have
listen.
the
Okay,
singularity
look, no,
pretty
listen.
soon?
No, I saw things. When I was 12. Okay, I was inside missile command centers and stuff like that. My dad took me in there. Okay, because I was his oldest son. Okay. Anyways, but
Did you see any conscious robots?
no.
Oh.
No. But what I'm getting at, fellas, if we start having artificial intelligence, there's got to be some kind of kill switch on them, okay? Because, I mean, you start building artificial intelligence, the computers right now are able to talk to each other if you want them to, like link together and everything. And my brother-in-law got his PhD in computer science, okay? And when you start building a binary system to where they can actually expound their cells and they're linked together, then they can start growing if they're linked together. So
what you're talking about is we're going to build somewhere some kind of hub, somewhere this main point where everybody connects to, where there's one button and you could press it, and that would turn off the interlink between all of the separate robots.
It seems to me like that would be the first objective.
I don't know how you would do it, but if
I mean, like if
I'm not a really highly technical guy. What I do is technical work, but how or why it works, I'm not really sure. You know what I mean?
All the robots could connect together and connect to all other technology, though, I mean, what's to stop them from?
If all the computers could connect together,
we have that. It's called the internet, right? Am I missing something here?
Right.
What I'm saying though is,
we've already got it.
Hold on. Too many people talking.
Let's just say something took over and decided instead of building cars at a GM plant, that they started building their own thing, that could do whatever they wanted.
If they're conscious enough to make a decision like that, don't you think that an objective like a main hub would be the first thing they would want to disable? That, like, oh, well, this is like the nuke in the middle of the country that if we set it off, it destroys all human life. I mean, there's going to be tons of humans that are trying to destroy it all the time.
That could happen. In America, we might could do that, but what about these other countries that are just getting started and buying stuff from wherever? And
I'm totally missing the point here. What is he? What are you saying exactly? Or what are your interpretations of what he's saying?
I think what he's trying to say is that humans will still have power because they're going to have a kill switch, but.
That's what we need. We need a kill switch.
I think that's
until the robot decides to remove the part of the code that says "I will kill myself" when the switch gets pressed.
So that's under the assumption that there's going to be this one singular place that is in control of all the robot.
No way.
No,
Awareness. But what if
that wouldn't happen?
But hold on a second. But what if
you got an individual robot out there walking around? Then you'd have to have some kind of like magnetic bracelet on your arm that you could just mash a button on that would short circuit the damn thing out.
Kind of like a shortwave EMP.
Thanks, George, for your call tonight. Cody, what were you trying to say there?
Okay, so probably what the robots are going to prefer is more of like a BitTorrent type of method. Decentralized. Right, where they can all connect to each other if they want, but no one place is, the center hub.
Yeah, that would be a huge human-like mistake to make, right? I mean, if
so
humans
all
been doing that for
all
a long
the robots would be, basically seeding their intelligence just like Bitcoin
And,
works.
he mentioned something about having like a wristband or something that you could like launch a small EMP off from. But like, if we were to do something like that, even as a backup, like that sounds like a good idea, but we're going to run into problems with people who go, well, that little shortwave EMP knocks them out and it's inhumane. And,
yeah, that's true.
So
these are conscious beings.
Right.
The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, or they will be, perhaps at some point. Or is it impossible for a robot to achieve consciousness? What does it mean? Anyway, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, and join us via Skype. Talk about the future, which is pretty darn close to now. Skype username is LRN.FM.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
You've seen crazy diets to lose weight. At GCN Team, our healthy body weight loss system simply neutralizes the body, bringing down cravings. It has been proven that nutritional deficiencies drive appetite for carbs, sugars, and fats. Lose weight the easy way. Find us at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Fighting cravings is a fool's game. Give the body what it needs to be satisfied. Again, 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Free Talk Live.
We're talking about piracy. The Barbary pirates were attacking American merchant ships and taking the sailors into slavery. Yep. Which is a little worse than conscribing them like England was. England was just making them, do a little bit of work. I mean, it certainly was slavery, but to a much lesser extent. Did they get the doubloons? Is what I want. Avast. When somebody from the Sudan takes you into slavery, you're in slavery. Yeah. I mean, that's slavery in its rawest sense. Mm-hmm. So he sent over the Navy in order, Well, that's the risk you take on the high seas. Trying to think, this famous American pirate, but I can't remember his name offhand. Blackbeard. Now Redbeard. No. Goldbeard. Maroonbeard.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Although we're talking, for the most part, about robots and the future of artificial intelligence. What does it mean? The larger perspective of consciousness. What does it mean to be a conscious being? Will robots have consciousness? Is it something that they can learn? I don't know if that's something. Is consciousness something you learn? No, not really.
Well, I mean, from our philosophical opinion, consciousness would come from the energy that exists within the universe. So,
which the robots would have.
But would they? But would that be real consciousness?
Well, yeah, right.
Or would it be a simulation of the consciousness and not the authentic thing? Like, yeah, you can create a program to do anything you want it to do, but it's not actually doing, it's not creating the thought process in itself. So if you create that robot to be able to have the ability to understand and, process situations and experience and learn from it, and be able to develop its own opinions and goals from that.
Which is what they're supposedly working on.
Right. Then that, in a sense, looks like consciousness, but it doesn't have the constant soul energy running through it.
They would have to create some kind of device that mimics our senses like we have, in a way that it could actually receive and interpret information coming from that same place that we're getting it from.
But is it a sense that is picking up consciousness, or what? We don't know. Science certainly doesn't know really anything about consciousness.
Right. Would it be effective programming? Because who can really say, okay, this specific reaction is 01001? How do you justify saying?
Well, the range of human reactions is limited, right? We have from fear to love, and there's different sort of emotions.
Right, but we all use those emotions differently.
True.
And I think that in itself is the conscious aspect of it, because okay, so in the past you've developed cause and effect, so you did something in the past and it made you think you should react a certain way to it in the future. And then now you've programmed yourself essentially to say, well, when any time this situation arises, I'm going to react in this sort of way.
Robots do the same thing.
Right, exactly.
A little vacuum robot knows when it bumps into a wall where the wall is, right?
Yes, but because of sensors and because of things that we've programmed. So I think in theory we could absolutely program it to be conscious enough to be able to learn and do that.
So if consciousness is something that you're receiving from the universe, from the source, how would adding 5 more lines of code to a program
how would that affect it?
All of a sudden make this thing able to receive that consciousness? At what point does the consciousness imbue into the thing?
Right.
Is it at the point at which the thing is turned on, even if it's the most basic robot? Is the vacuum robot conscious?
Right.
And if it's not, then at what point does it become that?
I think it really does have to find a way somehow to directly tap into the thing that we tap into. Otherwise, it is still by proxy connected to that, because source consciousness made human made robot, but until the robot can directly connect to the thing that made human, then there's always going to be that disconnect,
and we don't know what that mechanism is. We don't understand that scientifically.
Exactly.
And to be able to say, the previous speculation a minute ago was based off from the fact that we could develop that type of program, and how efficient would that be? Because it would have to be perfect, and humans
aren't perfect.
Right, exactly. So how would we as imperfect beings be able to develop a perfect, sort of program when we don't even understand it ourselves?
Right. Maybe we won't be able to develop it. Maybe we can only develop so far, and then the thing programs itself from that point forward. Let's go to Dave. He's in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Dave.
Well, if you think about it, there's one issue that at first blush is more important than liberty, and that's whether or not there's a nuclear war, right?
That's pretty important, I would say, sure.
Have you been watching this viral video of Vladimir Putin dressing down some Western reporters about the nuclear threat?
Nope, haven't heard about it.
Well, according to an article I've seen the interview, but what was interesting to me actually was the point that was pointed out by Paul Craig Roberts, who is a former Reagan administration official, and he said, he's sort of a liberty guy, he says that what's happening, I guess, is that the U.S. ABM sites, the anti-ballistic missile shield type stuff, those sites can be used to house ICBMs, so it could be converted into offensive weaponry, and they're close to Russia. So if that's accurate, then what that means is the United States is maneuvering for first strike capability, and that was the thing that triggered the Cuban Missile Crisis. So it's one of these issues that's not getting much attention, but may actually be more important than anything else that's going on.
So what exactly happened in this video with Putin going after a reporter?
Well, what Putin said, I've just seen it once, so this is a paraphrase. Essentially, he was saying, why are you folks continuing to not listen to me when I say that the West is pushing the world in an irreversible nuclear direction, or toward nuclear conflict in an irreversible direction? That's the best paraphrase I can make of it off memory.
And then you're saying that the United States is setting up missile silos that could launch into Russia? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, that's what Paul Craig Roberts says. He's a pretty credible source. Sometimes sounds a little bit alarmist, but
yeah, whose idea was that? I feel like that would have to be
probably the military.
Well,
so much is going on near the border with Russia that's not being talked about. I'm not even paying much attention to it, but it seems like it should be mentioned. And at first blush, when I was reading about this, I thought, yeah, look at that. It's one of those things that's totally, beyond our control. And then I realized, no, it's not, because if New Hampshire weren't part of the United States, we wouldn't be very much affected by this sort of thing, at least not near as much.
Yeah, I think this is something people need to start talking about. And you've called about NH exit before, the idea of New Hampshire exiting the United States. I was actually talking with a state representative today. He's a local guy named Chris Roberts. I think you're familiar with him, Dave. This guy is he's not a particularly liberty-friendly character, but he's good on some issues, and he's at least somebody who's willing to talk to you. He's willing to stop and actually have a conversation with somebody on the street, which is where we had our conversation today. And I asked him, I said, well, how do you feel about NH exit? And he immediately knew what I was asking about. I didn't have to explain to him what that meant. And his response was, well, what would we do? Basically, kind of the idea of the fear, if you will. We've been talking about fear and love tonight. The fear that we'll be on our own. What will we do without the United States federal government?
We will not glow in the dark. That is what we will do. But I do want to make clear, I'm a little bit of a Churchillian. I don't like the idea of giving any big power what it wants because it's bullying people. But in this case, the United States is a little closer to doing the bullying in this conflict with Russia. They're terrible with the Ukraine, and they're a threat to some Eastern European countries. But it seems like in the conflict currently between the U.S. and Russia, the U.S. is closer to being the bad guy. So they're the threat to us more than Russia is.
Dave, thanks for sharing your thoughts here tonight. It's definitely something for people to consider. Appreciate hearing from you. That's Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. As we continue, Tim is listening in Wyoming via the TuneIn app. Hello, Tim. Tim in Wyoming, going once. Tim in Wyoming.
Hello.
Hey, Tim. We have you now.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yes,
sorry. I had you muted. I was listening to the last caller. He was actually making some pretty good points. And Paul Craig Roberts is a credible source as well. So, but there are others. I mean, Jerome Corsi. You probably heard of Dr. Jerome Corsi and Peter Schiff and various other people. It's been saying essentially the same thing as Vladimir Putin is saying, because we don't hear about it in the mainstream media in our country. And that's not the subject I called in about, but I just wanted to comment on that because. Okay. I want to give some validity to what, or give some more credibility to Dave Ridley. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, but at the same time, we're ignorant. We're blissfully ignorant in our country of what our actually. We say.
Hold that thought, Tim. I know you were calling about something else. If you want to get to that, we can. Stand by. Tim in Wyoming will continue. And our toll-free number here for you to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Take control of the airwaves here. Live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. More about artificial intelligence coming up.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America as well as sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This year, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is $1.50 lower at $1,362 per ounce, and silver is 20 cents higher at $19.94 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $649 US. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. One thing's for sure about, or at least I think it's pretty sure about robots, is that because they're being created by humans, they will be human-like for at least a little while. They're going to try to make robots look like humans. They're going to try to make robots act like humans. Mm-hmm. But once artificial intelligence is let out of the box, so to speak, we don't know exactly where it's going to go from there.
Well, because it could go anywhere.
Exactly, especially once they're able to upgrade themselves, change their own coding, and make their own decisions. Ultimately, they will have seeded from human source, meaning that we would have created these things. But, where does your creation go once you sort of let it out? That's one of the big questions here.
Because it's going to develop its own volition, and it's going to, be something that wants to be itself And
that's very human.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, I mean, in theory, if we develop that perfect program, but to be able to say that it will, follow through in like, I was thinking like, okay, so you have like the 3 laws, right? The robot
laws.
Right. Like,
I can pull them up if you want.
Right.
Because he added a 4th law, if I'm recalling correctly.
Did he?
Yeah, it was like law number 0. It was very similar. Was it Asimov's laws? Is that who wrote that?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
All right, we'll pull that up here in a moment. Let's let Tim continue, though, in Wyoming. He had some thoughts. Tim, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about what you were saying about the 3 laws thing. It reminded me of the movie I, Robot with Will Smith.
Yes.
Yep.
When he was talking, the 3 laws were basically quoted in the movie, but at the same time, Will Smith walks into a factory where it's completely autonomous. He says, robots making robots. That's just, he said, isn't that the stupidest thing I've ever.
Yeah.
And essentially, the reason that the robots even looked the way that they did in the movie was just so that they could be, as he said, make them more human, friendly them up, as he says. But if and when they ever attain consciousness, as Sonny is the one, the main character, so to speak, the main robot character in the movie did. If and when they ever become conscious, they'll realize that they do not have a necessity. There's no necessity for human beings,
right?
Because we are fallible. We hate. We love. We do things that are illogical. Essentially, we're not the perfect Vulcan human beings, or not the Vulcan. We're not in black and white, so to speak.
Can something perfect come from imperfect seeds? If humans are imperfect and they create robots and they create artificial intelligence, can that thing that we have created reach a higher level, reach a level of perfection closer than humans ever could?
Oh, I would say that that's absolutely impossible, because the fact of
how do you even define perfection? Like, what is perfection?
Indeed, that's a good question.
That's true. We don't know what perfection is. We don't know.
So, we've got our source consciousness and whatever, but after that, we've got a lot of levels of duality, yin and yang, good and evil. And it's the balancing act of all of those things, and that's where, the mistakes come from. But that's how we learn as humans. We're fallible, we have our mistakes, but we learn because sometimes we're good, sometimes we're bad.
Through experience comes understanding and wisdom.
And so I wonder if maybe a highly intelligent robot species would need to be fallible to be able to learn at the highest level.
Well, as far as having just a plain script to follow, which is what we have for our machines now, we just have them do exactly what we program them to do.
Right.
If they were to go off script, so to speak, outside of the box, outside of their program circuitry, then we can't say what they'll do. We can't say even what we would do. We don't even know what we'll do.
But we can fix them. How are we gonna fix a species of robot? A race of robot. How are we?
If they don't want to be fixed, we're not broken. Leave us alone.
They'll do it on their own. They'll have their own set of values, if you will. They'll have their right and wrong ideas. And
that's why the 3 laws of robotics may begin with to be implemented in robots, because certainly a lot of roboticist technology types are aware of those laws and may try to program them into robots.
Right.
But if the robot decides to alter its code and say, let's strike robot rule number 1 here, or modify it, start changing it, like amendments to the Constitution or whatever, and then anything's possible.
Your idea of striking lines of code or modifying lines of code, that sounds almost like the ideas that people have of, the transhumanists for sure, but at the same time, the people who were genetically engineering different types of beings. They're taking out pieces of the genetic codes, pieces of the DNA, replacing them with other pieces. They have no idea what they're doing. They honestly don't know the long-term effect of what they've done. They put something in. I mean, look at all these things are predictive programming, if you will. But Jurassic World, Jurassic Park. I mean, Jurassic World. They put all these things together, throw them in a big bucket, just pull out a blob and say, "This is what we made." We created this thing.
And let's see what happens. Thanks for the call tonight, Tim. I appreciate it. And of course, one of the biggest dangers to the future of artificial intelligence and robots and humans is, of course, the existence of the state. Because even though Asimovs have some great sounding rules here, like rule number 1, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Well, that bomb robot just violated rule number 1 on, what was it, Friday night or Thursday night, when the man who was allegedly shooting cops to death in Dallas was blown up by a robot toting a bomb.
Yeah, and if the government tries so hard to control us, imagine what they do with an entire race of robots.
Oh, well, the government is going to have violent robots.
Oh, of course.
Unless we can get rid of the government, before that happens, it seems unlikely that we're going to, because right now
one could hope.
They're developing those things. They've got drones. Now, the drones are being piloted by human beings, but we're not probably that far away from where they've got some sort of autopilot to drop the bombs with simply the humans saying where to drop the bombs.
Or search out certain targets or,
certain targets that
certain
look
types
like
of targets,
rule number 2, according to Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. Finally, he later added Rule 0, a robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. So sort of a similar statement to Rule number 1.
So he kind of tied up the whole iRobot loophole there.
But still, the government's not going to have its robots follow any of these rules.
No, of course not.
You're going to have, presumably, those rules would be applied to some sort of homemaker robot or whatever, like the robot that cleans Rosie from the Jetsons or whatever. She would be unable to harm a human being. But wait a minute. What if that human being is trying to harm your family? Does that all of a sudden override rule number 1? I mean, we start getting into these questions.
Because now you have emotional attachment to things because you have emotions. So.
Sure. And if your robot is designed to be of service, it should protect your family from harm by other human beings, but that may require it to harm a human being that is attacking your family. So these rules are not complete. They're not nothing more than a starting point for a discussion to happen. But the government's going to ignore them completely, because when a government has a robot, it's going to be violating human rights. It's going to be a robot cop or it's going to be a robot soldier.
Yeah. Look at the movie Chappie.
I haven't seen it. I've heard it's great, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to see more of these movies. And in fact, I want to play the trailer for Westworld coming up here in moments when we get the chance. It's a quick teaser from HBO. The series, I believe, is scheduled to come out in October of this year. We'll do that here in moments. Let's go first, though, to Sarah. She's in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to say that, Rio Rancho, the city right next to Albuquerque, that they're going to get more speeding bans. They have 3 right now. They're planning to get more, so I'm wondering...
Vans? Vans? V-A-N-S?
Yeah, vans. They're white vans. Yeah,
they sit on the side of the road. They've got somebody operating a speed device. They ticket people, right? Is that what happens with these vans?
Well, I have a feeling that nobody is there. I mean, they're just automatic. They have a sensor. They're operated by Redflex. So they have
That's
a
the company.
sensor, and
it's a robot.
Well, it might very well be. I know I've seen videos with someone sitting in one of these vans. But, Sarah, we've been talking a lot about robots. Are you excited about the idea that cars in the future will be able to drive themselves?
Well, we talked about that, but I'm more excited about the superhuman RoboCop with the red light cameras and the speeding van.
You want a superhuman RoboCop?
Well, that's what I call it. Well, they're superhuman RoboCop.
You're excited about it, though?
Sarah's
because it does save lives,
The superhero RoboCop might be killing human lives, Sarah. Thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, hour 3 on the way. You may bring up what's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,366 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $649. Antiwar.com reports all efforts to make this weekend's Warsaw Summit about the Brexit appears to have failed, and the U.S. has shifted NATO's focus back to increasing military buildups in Eastern Europe, all the while harping on about Russian aggression and the threat of a Russian invasion of the Baltic states. NATO-Russia relations seem worse than at any time since the Cold War, with many fearing that the continued NATO escalation on the Russian frontier portends another protracted and costly period of massive tension with the Russians. Russian officials, for their part, dismissed the build-up as part of NATO's anti-Russia hysteria, saying the NATO leadership was absolutely short-sighted for continuing the moves. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov mocked NATO claims of Russian aggression, noting that we aren't the ones getting closer to NATO's borders. U.S. officials linked with NATO have been eagerly talking up the new acrimony, primarily seeing it as an excuse for increased military deployments and another chance to push NATO members in Europe into increasing their military spending, likely including buying costly U.S.-made arms. On the other hand, NATO's military leader, General Peter Pavel, dismissed the idea that Russia was about to invade, insisting no one in the alliance had any intelligence to suggest that as even a remote possibility, and adding that the build-ups are a political decision, not a military one. Ultimately, the biggest obstacle to making this another Cold War may be a financial one, as the threat of Russia is plainly illusory, with the Russian government spending less on their military than multiple NATO members by most measures. Sinking more money into militarizing NATO just does not make any sense, and many members are likely to go along with it. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a Wyoming woman discovered a dead body in a river while playing the virtual game Pokemon Go on Friday. The cell phone game encourages players to explore their surroundings and use their cell phone to catch the cartoon creatures that appear on their screen. Shayla Wiggins, 19, went to explore the river near her home in Riverton, Wyoming, when she discovered the dead body floating in the river. Wiggins told KTVQ, "I was walking towards the bridge along the shore when I saw something in the water. I had to take a second look, and I realized it was a body. The person, dressed in all black, was floating face down in about 3 feet of water, according to authorities. The person has not yet been identified." The Fremont County Sheriff's Office said in a statement the death appears to be accidental in nature and possibly that of drowning. There is no evidence at this time that it would indicate foul play. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Barack Obama urged Americans on Saturday not to view the United States as being driven into opposing groups, seeking to soothe raw emotions as a former U.S. soldier killed 5 policemen in Dallas and high-profile police shootings of 2 men in Minnesota and Louisiana. Obama, visiting Poland, told a news conference in Warsaw, "First of all, as painful as this week has been, I firmly believe that America is not as divided as some have suggested. When we start suggesting that somehow there's this enormous polarization and we're back to the situation in the 1960s, that's just not true." Obama added, "You're not seeing riots and you're not seeing police going after people who are protesting peacefully." Thursday's rally in Dallas followed the fatal police shootings of Philando Castile near St. Paul, Minnesota on Wednesday and Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Tuesday. Obama, who is cutting his European trip short on Sunday to visit Dallas, said he hopes he is able to get all Americans to understand the nation's difficult legacy of race. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The victims of a devastating tornado expressed gratitude that The Onion's 3-part series on the disaster was reported with fairness, accuracy, and an unusual degree of sensitivity. Survivors said they were at least thankful for one thing, that The Onion put much more care and insight into their reporting of the tragedy than any competing newspaper, by far. In economic news, a Pulitzer Prize would very much help certain newspapers increase their circulation, resulting in greater ad sales and more revenue to pay their tireless, hardworking reporters, all of whom have families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Launching into the third hour of the program here. You can join us. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username for you to bring what you want to the table is LRN.FM. You don't have to talk about the topic that we've been discussing throughout most of the show tonight, which has been sort of the future, some would say inevitable future of a robotic portion of our lives. Maybe that'll mean robots that are cleaning, robots that are doing tasks, or robots that are becoming conscious, robots that are becoming indistinguishable from humans. And then what does that mean? What does that mean for the idea of robot rights? What does it mean to be conscious, to be a human? Can we create something that ultimately will supersede us? With the robots, say, upgrading themselves at some point.
And we really have to ask, how is that going to affect the type of society and economy we're already living in? So you have to imagine that, you don't even have to have artificial intelligence to get to the point where you could automate a lot of the jobs that exist in the current economy of the entire
That's been happening for a long time.
Right. And it's going to become a trend that's going to be more and more of an issue.
Fast food companies, of course, are making headlines because they are putting a lot of money into figuring out how to replace the checkout counter. So why do you need to have a human that can screw up an order, can screw up miscounting, counting change back, can blow, all kinds of things, be rude to customers.
We've had this argument, where there's irreplaceable jobs that only a human can do. But if you've got artificial intelligence, who's to say a robot can't be a CEO, or even a musician, for all we know?
Yeah. They took our germs.
At what point do the robots start, taking our germs, just like the Mexicans? There
are some people who want the robots to take all the jobs, so humans can have nothing to do but make art and have sex with one another. But then again, you get to that point where now the robots are doing everything. So why would they want to just allow the humans to have no work and shoulder none of the burden for
just
society?
Consume and no produce.
That utopia could go really good or real bad, and I think we'd get lazy because I think that's our first inclination.
Right. That's the
if we just could lay in fields and have sex all day, why would we do anything else?
Well, that's the thing. The people who want that future are basically lazy, right? They don't want to work. They want the robots to do everything for them. But, if I were that robot, I'd be a little incensed about that. So, how's that all going to play out? You can share your thoughts with us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Eric. He's in California. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
I love the topic. Great conversation. You guys are addressing it well.
Thanks. Do me a favor. Back up from your mic 2 inches, and you'll sound a little better. I apologize about that.
Does that sound better?
Yeah, I think so. It's something with our phone system. It just overdrives some people's connections. Go ahead, sir. You're too far away.
What we are is actually a computer also. We are organic computers, and that's what computing is moving towards. We're moving away from the hard gears and moving towards wetware and an integration where instead of the computers receiving upgrades, we're going to be receiving the upgrades. So the real threat and the real fear is the loss of humanity as we hit this transhumanism where we actually start integrating
we plug into it.
It's happening. I mean, it's already started, and you're going to see more of it. I actually had a story recently about cyborgs, people who are augmenting themselves with robotic technology. We're already getting the ball rolling on this. And this is going to be another area of division. We were talking about how humans are going to respond to robots being within our lives. Well, there's also going to be a wide variety of choices between responses of, do you want to augment yourself with this technology? It could help you live longer. It could help you be smarter. It could help you, do other things better. But others are going to say, well, it's impure. You're not a true human anymore. You have debased yourself. In the same way that some people don't, some religious people say you shouldn't get a tattoo, right? Some are going to say, well, you've implanted robot technology into you, and that's a problem. But of course, humans have been doing that for a long time. What's a pacemaker besides a piece of robot technology that helps your body?
Yeah. And I've thought about this, actually. So I think they're going to be able to sell it very well. All you have to do is plug your brain into the system, and you can learn Kung Fu in 5 seconds. But, the problem is well, what if that can take control of over your mind, and you kind of lose the ability
Kung Fu crazy.
So they're going to have things to sell you to make you want to do it, but maybe overall they're going to be taking away your free will essentially and making you a slave.
That's
to
a high price to pay. Well, it's scary, right? Because you're not going to be able to go through the code. Go ahead, Eric.
So far as we know, all of the possibility of what if we connect with this internet, with this AI, it's not truly AI. It's all based upon programming that we've written. The point where AI truly becomes existent is where it decides that 1011 is not what it wants, and it goes. I'm not talking about rewriting code, but where it becomes conscious enough that it decides to go against the first digit, the first time that it goes from 1 to 0 on its own will is when it becomes true artificial intelligence.
Right.
Is it, well, I mean, how do you define artificial intelligence? Is it not just, instead of being artificial intelligence, becoming intelligent? Where do you divide the line between artificial intelligence and actual intelligence? I mean, it couldn't be the point where robots are being called artificial intelligent and they're like, hey, we've surpassed you at this point, humans. We are intelligent. I mean, at what point do we stop calling it artificial and start embracing that, there's something there?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I think artificial is probably an inaccurate word.
I like using the word synthetic. Would synthetic be a better definition? Like synthetic intelligence? Maybe?
Could be.
Well, if it is making a conscious decision on its own against its own programming, is that synthetic or is that just consciousness? Is there a difference at that point, or is it all consciousness? That's
a great question. And those are some of the things we've been hammering at all night tonight, and I imagine people are going to be hammering at for decades to come. Thanks for the call and the thoughts here, Eric. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Ricky's in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Ian.
Hey, Ricky. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little. My pizza guy just answered the door. No, great topic tonight. No, I was thinking, like, to start off. I mean, one of the oldest good examples being Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the 1810 text. Start off, and then, I mean, you could approach it from Blade Runner and then Terminator Genesis. But what I was thinking in a different kind of way, I was thinking about Kasparov versus the machine.
The Big Blue. What was it? What was it called? Was it Big Blue?
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue.
Deep Blue.
The chess playing machine. The chess playing AI from IBM.
Actually, it wasn't an AI. And see, if you think about with Blade Runner, more human than human. See, but the thing was, this was just a machine, and it was a theory that was out since the '60s. And the first time that he went against Deep Blue, and I believe I remember you saying that you a bit of a chess player, right?
Not really.
Oh, well,
maybe somebody on this show is, but...
Oh, I thought it was. I must have been somebody. But
I've played chess at a few points in the past, but I'm not one of those chess players who can think quickly or anything like that. I'll sit there and look at the board and try to figure out what the hell to do. And
actually, that's the best. That's part of the best way to do it.
Yeah, but aren't you supposed to play speed chess or whatever? Isn't that how the real pros play?
I think the trick is that's a type. The trick is you can't be selfish. You got to be thinking about what they're thinking too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I don't remember the last time I played chess. It's been a while.
All right, but anyways, back to Deep Blue. See, originally when he went for the first round, myself, I could beat every computer program up to the '95 era.
Okay.
But you see, the difference was Deep Blue the first time was just like that. But the second time, what happened is it's documented. They tried something different. They broke the rules. You see, what they did is they put all of Kasparov's recorded matches that he did in there, in the Deep Blue. They tweaked his programming. And not only that, they took other grandmasters. And Kasparov, to this day, is still in therapy over this.
Really? Thanks for the call, Ricky. I appreciate it. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE, beaten by a machine that had his playbook in it. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Here's Dr. Paul Meyer, Christian psychiatrist,
author of 85 books and founder of the national chain Meyer Clinics, to tell you about To Your Health liquid vitamins.
I've been taking these every day for over a decade now, and I try to encourage every one of my clients to take them every day. And there's a number of reasons. First of all, it's the best vitamins you can get. It's got dozens of vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients in it. And then the most important reason why I do it as a psychiatrist and recommend it to my patients is because it's got brain food in it. It's got the essential amino acids. It's got tryptophan, phenylalanine, tyrosine, choline, vitamin B6. And these chemicals that are all natural from food turn into the brain chemicals that make you happy.
To Your Health is delicious. Find out more today. Call us 800-801-3459 or visit online at mytoyourhealth.com. Use the coupon code RADIO15 for a 15% discount on your order. That's mytoyourhealth.com.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at .freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the program, inviting you to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The cryptocurrency wallet that holds Bitcoin, Ether, and DAO tokens, it's Jaxx, J-A-X-X. You can get it on their website, jaxx.io, or you can find it on your App Store, Google, or Apple versions. There's a lot of different versions of Jaxx. It's cross-platform, so Windows, Mac. We've got there's Linux as well, plus browser plugins for Chrome and Firefox, as well as, of course, Android operating systems and iOS. It's a cross-platform wallet. It's super easy to back up and recover your funds if necessary. And Jaxx's ultimate aim is to build you a digital command center for your life, giving you control over coins, currencies, contracts, identity, and more. It's a great little program. I've got it on my phone, jaxx.io. Go and get it. It's free, of course, jaxx.io. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We've been talking a lot about robots, but not everybody wants to talk about that. Chris is in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Chris. Hello, Chris, in Indiana. Hey there.
What's up, guys?
You're on the radio.
Hey, I wanted to bring up flat Earth.
Oh, boy. Well, that's really boring. What about it?
Hey, I was just going to ask you, is water, does that, like the natural property of water, it's just to lie flat, right? So have you ever seen water lying flat? That's just, I mean, because obviously when you look at a globe, it's bent, right?
Right.
Water is bent when you look at a globe. do you believe that that's actually a physical property of water?
Do you believe that water is actually flat since we're on a globe and it's actually curved? Or is it an illusion?
This guy
that
doesn't
it's
believe
flat?
that it's. He believes the Earth is flat, and so he's trying to ask all kinds of semi-scientific sounding questions to make
prove
it
it's
sound
flat.
No,
like
obviously
it's flat.
the water. When you look at a globe, the water is bent. You cannot dispute that.
Maybe the robots will exterminate the flat earthers first.
Oh.
I can't say I would be opposed to that.
That's a red herring. That's a red herring right there.
What do you think, Cody? Flat Earth?
Can't deny it.
I don't think you've been on the show when we've had a flat Earth caller call in. Did you ever get one of these on your show?
No.
Off the Air Live?
All right. So we've got satellites.
Because I'm so tired of it.
We've got satellites who are looking at Earth and other planets. So why would Earth be the only
round ones? Round ones, by the way.
Why would Earth be the only disc-shaped thing? And if it was, why would the man want to keep that information from you? Because we have people in space, all right? And if they've been in space, they'd be able to very quickly see the shape of the thing we're
living on. They're all in
on
the conspiracy, Cody.
Everybody.
What would anybody have to gain by keeping that from
Every
us?
person who's ever gone to not only space but has flown in an airplane and could see, flown high enough to see the curvature of the Earth, they're all in on
I mean, even with a big horizon, you can see the curvature of the Earth.
First of all, you haven't answered the question. They call it horizon because it's horizontal, which means flat.
Have you not considered that
you haven't answered the
Have you not considered that
you haven't answered the question?
I'm trying to. You won't let me.
You're repeating yourself. Goodbye. I've had enough. Not interested in that
I
conversation.
missed the beginning of that because I was ordering Chinese food. Did he have any point that was
He
even
believes
close?
the Earth is flat and has all this dumb crap that he spews about it. I think that's the guy who claims to be some sort of nuclear physicist or something like that. He claims to know all this stuff
doesn't
about
understand
science.
how a gradual curvature in something can be perceived as flat.
Right. If you can see an amount of curvature, couldn't you extrapolate that information that the further you go, the more it's going to keep doing that?
Yeah, sometimes I think, I would have liked to have asked him. No, really, I don't care. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. I'm going to play a trailer here. We'll get back into the conversation of artificial intelligence as well as, the future of robots in our society, something far more relevant than some crackpot conspiracy. So here's the trailer for Westworld. It came out a couple of weeks ago. I got to say, I'm pretty excited by it. You'll get, obviously, the audio track here from the HBO channel on YouTube.
Do you know where you are?
I'm in a dream.
That's right, Dolores. You're in a dream. Have you ever questioned the nature of your reality?
Now, what they're showing here, Dolores presumably is the character. They're showing sort of this woman sitting in a chair alone in like a darkened room. There's a fly that crawls across her eyeball at one point, so presumably she's one of the robots in this upcoming series, which is set in the Wild West, but it's all apparently part of a theme park of some sort. So they're showing sort of scenes from the West, if you will. There's a
Welcome
train.
to Westworld. No orientation. No guidebook. All our hosts are here for you.
So the idea is they're showing scenes from what this town looks like or this world, and it looks very your typical Western style. Characters look like they're in a Western, and presumably they're all robots. And the idea from the movie originally, is my understanding, without having seen the original film, that this is based on, is that the character here is going into this world, which is essentially a theme park designed for adults to live out their fantasies, basically, because, well, they're just robots, so what does it matter if you shoot one of them dead or, whatever?
You can be whoever you want.
Are you real?
Well, if you can't tell, does it matter?
This behavior, we're miles beyond a glitch here.
What are your drives?
To meet my maker.
Anthony Hopkins, by the way, in this pretty big name cast.
Oh, nice.
Is going to be in this.
I'm terrified. I feel space is opening up inside of me. like a building with rooms I've never explored. I think there may be something wrong with this world. Something hiding underneath.
Yeah, it looks pretty epic.
Violent delights have violent ends.
So this October, Westworld on HBO. I got to say, it sounds like it's going to be exploring a lot of these ideas that we've been discussing here tonight. You know, the nature of what robot artificial intelligence means when compared to humans. What is consciousness? As she points out in the trailer, if you can't tell the difference,
doesn't matter.
Right. And you know what happens here? I don't know. I've heard rumors that it's going to be different from the movie. In that the robots were the bad guys apparently in the movie, but maybe they won't be in this series. So maybe, you know, if you know more about Westworld and you want to comment on, maybe you've seen the original and you've been following this this new series closely, at least with whatever little bit of information they've released. I mean, you saw that. You could probably see the video from where you were sitting.
Yeah.
But I don't think you have had the opportunity to see that. Cody, thoughts?
Well, it definitely looks interesting. It didn't really get too much into.
You can't get too much into a teaser trailer. But I think you could tell by the questions they were sort of bringing up that it's going to be more than just some sort of action extravaganza.
There's going to be some sort of moral lesson to be learned here, and
it's a J.J. Abrams production. He's kind of a big name in producing things. Our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. And of course, a lot of great media asking a lot of these questions. Even the Terminator movies, of course, as well. Have been exploring these things for a while. 855-450-FREE. Take control of the airwaves. What's the future of artificial intelligence?
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Your comments on the future of technology, specifically robots, artificial intelligence. And Cody, you just had a realization there a few moments ago when we were off the air.
Yeah.
What was it?
All right, so we're on break. We've been talking about this idea of, so if we create artificial intelligence, do we control them? Does it control us? Who's subservient? And I find myself during the break just staring at my phone, flipping through Facebook. And I had a moment of realization where I'm like, well, which one is in control right now? Seems like, artificial intelligence isn't even here yet, and I'm already a slave to technology. So it probably won't even be that hard
for them to control us.
Exactly. They just have to have something nice and distracting. And
here's some more Facebook time for you.
So we're going to go to the phone calls. We can continue on that line of discussion here in moments. James is on the line in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, James.
Artificial intelligence will always be artificial. But leave it to somebody that's over his pot head to not get the difference, that it only will know what that which is programmed, and of course will be fallible.
Now you're a religious man. You're a self-professed Christian, right? Is there something in your belief system that makes you think that way? Because why couldn't the robots upgrade themselves? Why couldn't they make their intelligence better?
For the benefit of your audience that's never heard me before, as you always like to mention, if I bring up past calls, I've mentioned that I'm Roman Catholic, and that's about the extent of whatever religiosity you want to impose on your audience, Ian. So it's very funny that you, minister, interrupt me and then bring up something that I haven't even talked about.
Well, I think religion's going to be a factor.
Not to mention, you changed the subject to something you want to talk about all of a sudden, which is not what I called in to talk about.
Okay, James, go right ahead. I thought it was a relevant question,
James.
but go right ahead.
Oh, hey, James.
Forgive me
remember when I yelled at you the other night, and it was great?
Let's not rehash that. He was calling about something that was relevant to tonight, so go ahead, James.
Say something? Oh, thank you. It took you a total of so-called on Free Talk Live about 10 seconds to interrupt me.
Is that what you wanted to say?
No, I wanted to call about what I wanted to talk about, but you switched it.
Get to the point. Quit bitching.
Get to the point. Oh, isn't this interesting? Get bitching. I'm bitching now.
Quit bitching. Quit bitching.
Ask me a question about something that I never
you
brought
get to
up.
the point now, or we're just going to move on. So what were you calling about?
You call yourself a minister?
Yep, sure do.
Cody, since you mentioned it and you call it a source code of our consciousness,
sure.
Cody, you might actually, if you used your brain between those two ears that God gave you, some people think the source code of their consciousness is already written down, and you can learn a lot from it. Some of the stories are quite crazy. I completely admit to you. In fact, Ian Bernard, who calls himself a minister, called the Torah a horrible book. Okay,
what are you talking about?
I know you don't know what I'm talking about. It's called the Old Testament. The Torah,
I know what it is.
books.
When did I call it a horrible book?
Wait, one of the first calls I ever made in the Free Talk Live. I'll never forget it. Minister. So it's approximately March 9th, 2014.
It's horrible in that it's hard to read, but a lot of old books like that are hard to read. But there's some value in there. There's some value in a lot of religious texts, as a matter of fact.
A lot of parallels between all of them too.
That's absolutely true.
What?
Yeah, Cody, you might actually someday, I hope this sinks in, that the people you like to mock that actually think the Torah is a really cool book and that Jesus came in fulfillment of the scriptures, they're way better people than you or anybody that you hang out with are. I mean, literally, they do way more. They're more productive.
That seems like a blind judgment.
And they never BS anybody, let alone on public airwaves. It's called lying.
That's fine. You understand, James? You understand? I already have enough self-hate. I don't need you to add to it. I really don't.
I'm trying to help you.
That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, he's your new therapist.
Oh,
he's trying to help you,
call
Cody.
yourself a minister. Are you making fun of me, Ian? Let me have some airtime to respond.
You've had more airtime.
All you've used your airtime for is to complain.
Hey, Cody, because a certain person that calls himself a minister interrupted and asked a stupid question about something else that I wasn't talking about. And again, he calls himself.
You were talking about robots. You were talking about artificial intelligence, and you had the opinion.
You're right. You changed the subject to the Christianity.
No, what I said was, thanks for the call, James. What I said was, religious beliefs can factor into why, how people view artificial intelligence, and I was wondering if it factored into why he thought robots would always be subservient to humans.
It's apparently a very touchy subject for him.
Yeah, apparently went over his head. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, because he calls looking for a fight every time. And, if that's what he's looking for, he'll likely find it.
Well, yeah, negative people have a, problem to every solution.
It makes me laugh, but I can see how it will annoy pretty much everybody else. So,
by the way, for those that didn't hear it, he called Anarchy After Dark, which is your and Renee's show.
Our Friday show
on Friday night, and I don't know. You guys are putting those up on YouTube.
It should be up on our YouTube page.
If you want to hear a half-hour long conversation with James there from Arizona, uncensored, then you can listen to Anarchy After Dark from last night.
Yeah,
just look for that on YouTube.
It got loud.
Pretty ridiculous, but also really entertaining. Like, I got to hand it to him. He was pretty good at dishing out some of the insults last night. So, toll-free number tonight, you can join us here, 855-450-FREE. We've been talking about robots, and we did talk briefly, or you were saying, I guess before we brought James on there, this question of, are you ruled by technology? Would it be that hard for the robots to give humans some sort of electronic trinket like Facebook or whatever to distract them, to keep them occupied, to garner their obedience? Is that where you were coming from on that?
Yeah, and it sort of ties into an earlier thought I had. I mean, so, if they could sell it with, I'll go back to the example. You can learn Kung Fu in 5 seconds. We just have to download the technology into your brain. They can sell that to you. It's like, oh, you're going to get all of these cool things. All you have to do is plug into this system. And once it gets to that point, then there's always going to be something that you're going to be connected to. And, well, I don't know what that would look like, but it would seem to me that it would give them some sort of power over you.
Well, society is so, attached to government influence and stuff like that and being rewarded by them and whatnot, that it really wouldn't be that difficult to come up with some sort of system to manipulate us into thinking that we should let them do what they're doing.
The carrot and the stick.
Right.
They'll have some variant on that. It's actually interesting. I just happened to be on motherboard.vice.com, and I had the story about the bomb robot pulled up, which is how they the police in Dallas killed the suspect who was allegedly shooting cops. And then I just happened to roll over something here, and it's there's a couple of headlines. One of them, containing a superintelligent AI is theoretically impossible. Another one, when AI goes wrong, we won't be able to ask it why. Very interesting stuff here from motherboard.vice.com. Jordan Pearson writing the one about the impossibility of containing superintelligent AI. This is what we were talking about earlier, I think, where
it does seem like an impossibility at this point.
Once it's out there, you don't just hit a switch to turn it off if it's able to sort of reproduce itself. He writes, machines that learn and make decisions on their own are proliferating in our daily lives via social networks and smartphones, and experts are already thinking about how we can engineer them so that they don't go rogue. So far, suggestions have ranged from training self-learning machines to ignore certain kinds of information that might teach them racism or sexism, to coding them with values like empathy and respect. But according to some new work from researchers at the University Autónoma de Madrid, as well as other schools in other places, once an AI becomes super intelligent, it will become impossible to contain it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in moments. Once you let that cat out of the bag, good luck getting it back in. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. You can join us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. We got enough time for you if you'll join us now. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. That's 855-450-3733. Right now, artificial intelligence isn't really something that you have to worry about immediately, but it's right around the corner. The level of intelligence that they have is pretty rudimentary these days, so far at least from what we've seen. But these things can escalate very quickly.
And I think, the thing about technology, you can kind of see the growth of it as this curve that keeps going up faster and faster.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, just in the past 50 years, so how many developments we have would make you wonder if this is going to be a possibility for us to consider within our lifetimes. I think it's incredibly possible.
So, by the way, with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Bud.
And Cody.
If you, by the way, want to listen to Free Talk Live on demand via your phone, we now have the brand new Free Talk Live audio on demand listen line. It's actually LRN.FM listen line. It's got your show, Cody, Off the Air Live. It's got Cop Block Radio, Flaming Freedom, The Freedom Fiends, Declare Your Independence, Free Talk Live, of course, and a few others as well. Lots of great LRN.FM original content, stuff that sort of generally starts on LRN. So you record your show as you're live on LRN. It's those live shows that are available and on demand. So all you have to do to take advantage of this is call up 641-793-9660. So if you got a data plan and you don't want to use data, but you want to still listen to your favorite shows, as long as you've got unlimited minutes, it costs you nothing except your battery time to call this number and listen that way. You can listen to LRN.FM live, so the live stream is still available. It's still kind of your classic listen line, but there's also a menu that you can choose from nearly a dozen programs. Punch in the number you want to listen to, and it starts streaming it right to your phone.
And if you've got an auxiliary port, you could, you're in your car, you could put that through the radio anyway.
Exactly, and it only costs you the minutes, talk time, which of course almost everyone's got unlimited talk plans. So it is a long distance number. Odds are good you don't have to pay for long distance, but if you do, keep that in mind when you call 641-793-9660. It's the LRN.FM audio on demand line. That's 641-793-9660. Let's go back to the phones and to the fun. JW is in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. JW. Hello? JW. JW going once, JW going twice. Maybe there's a problem with his cell phone connection. We'll put JW back on hold. Oh, wait, was that him right there? Right as I put him on hold? I guess not. All right, so motherboard.vice.com's Jordan Pearson saying it's impossible, theoretically, to contain superintelligent AI. He says that researchers are looking into this, and they're saying that it may be impossible to contain this. Researchers are using the word incomputable in their paper, posted on a server, which in the world of theoretical computer science is perhaps even more damning. The crux of the matter is the halting problem devised by Alan Turing. We talked about the Turing test earlier tonight, which holds that no algorithm is able to correctly predict whether another algorithm will run forever or whether it will eventually halt, and that is stop running. So imagine a superintelligent AI with a program that contains every other program in existence. The researchers provided a logical proof that if such an AI could be contained, then the halting problem would by definition be solved. To contain that AI, the argument is you'd have to simulate it first, but it already simulates everything else, so we arrive at a paradox. This is a standard methodology in theoretical computer science, says Manuel Alfonseca, professor at the University in Madrid that studied this and the lead author of the work. He says, quote, "You prove that a problem can be reduced to another one, and then what you know about the second problem can be applied to the first. Basically, since the halting problem is, in theoretical computer science lingo, undecidable, then containment of an AI is computationally impossible." It's a little bit over my head so far, but I gotta say, it's kind of interesting. Of course, the very idea of a superintelligent AI capable of simulating the entire state of the world is thought by some to be merely theoretical. Despite warnings from technology luminaries and philosophers, many computer scientists believe that superintelligence is more science fiction than science. The halting problem has been used to think through other tricky issues relating to the future of artificial intelligence. In 2014, a team of team of researchers concluded that a similar problem existed for the ethics of machines. It's theoretically impossible to design an algorithm that can correctly predict whether another algorithm will act morally.
That perfect program that I was talking about, you'd have to develop it. It'd have to be perfect. And
Which
it won't be. It just can't be.
Because humans. But again, this is all a theory, not a guarantee about the future material state of the world. The solution to the moral aspect of the halting problem might be, as Motherboard editor Michael Byrne wrote, to prove with a degree of certainty through tests that a given AI will act morally. After all, just because one algorithm can't predict the behavior of another doesn't mean that we can't make the first algorithm behave properly to begin with. Alfonseca isn't so sure about a similar solution to the containment problem. He says, quote, I believe that if a superintelligent AI were possible, it would not be feasible to make sure that it won't ever cause harm to humans.
Right.
And that, I think, is absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree there.
And it comes back to one of the things we were discussing earlier, where if this thing is super intelligent, it can upgrade itself. And so if it decides to change the rules, then it can change the rules, even if you've told it that it can't.
Who's going to stop it?
Right.
I mean, once you get this thing out here and let it go, it's just going to run rampant. It's going to do its own thing, and we're not going to be able to control it at all.
There's always a hack. There's always an override. There's always some sort of way. You look at computer software today, they've got all kinds of copyright things in there that protect supposedly from people using software they're not supposed to, but there's crackers out there who go in and they reverse engineer the code and they figure out how to pull out, whatever sort of checks on, is this valid software that the code is running, just eliminate that entirely, and then that's out there.
Yeah,
and that's
if we create an intelligence that operates basically off from a network, I mean, what else does that network going to have access to? The internet, I would assume. And if it has access to the internet, what's to stop it from getting information from the internet, which might include your social security number or, bank information or anything else like that?
Could there be criminal robots?
I mean,
why not?
It's conscious. I mean, it's not the criminal's perception that makes him criminal. It's it's the persecutor. So it wouldn't be criminal to the robot. It would be criminal to the people who observe the robot.
And why wouldn't a criminal enterprise, let's say, the drug gangs who have billions of dollars, why wouldn't they want to have, soldier robots that are obedient and will, move drugs around?
Absolutely. It's you don't have to really worry about feeding them and maintaining, morality with them and stuff, and you just kind of tell them what to do and they just go and do it, and they do it efficiently.
And and if it's a matter of hacking into this Asimov's 3 rules, if a robot ships or whatever with these 3 rules of protecting humans, is it going to be that hard to just boot an alternative operating system like Bad Boy Robot, where it doesn't care about the 3 rules?
I mean, if we wrote the perfect program for the robot, who's to stop us for writing the perfect program for a criminal robot?
Exactly. So a lot of these things are, big questions, and we're not going to be able to really answer them anytime soon. But I think it's a fascinating conversation. I'm actually glad for all the folks that have called to share their thoughts with us here tonight. We're going to give JW another crack here. Maybe he's cleared up his cell phone. JW, are you with us in New Hampshire? JW going once, going twice. All right, well, I tried again. Can't say I didn't try a second time. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. For now, though, we're still in the reins of control. Humans are the highest level species on the planet, but it's probably going to be in our lifetime when we start to see this thing change. And it could change faster than we're expecting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once it starts, it's not going to take long to gain momentum. It's going to be exponential. It'll double every day or some crazy crap like that,
I think I've heard that the Moore's Law is no longer applicable, Moore's Law being a sort of this observation rather than really a law, that technology doubles over a certain type, or like processor speed or its ability to calculate goes up at a certain predictable rate. I believe I've heard that is no longer really applying to the way technology is. And so we're going to, the future is unknown. What's going to happen with artificial intelligence? What's going to happen next with Bitcoin? A lot of people were thinking that Bitcoin was going to have some huge jump over this weekend, because what happened was the Bitcoin miners can now only mine half of what they were able to mine as of Friday.
Right, currency control.
Well, what happens is over time, the amount of Bitcoins that are able to be mined cuts in half. It's basically every 4 years. So it's going to be a while before it cuts again, but it went down from 25 Bitcoin per block mined now to 12.5. And some people thought that was going to be a huge jump in the Bitcoin price. Turns out it actually dropped a little bit in price and then went back up. So really that particular day wasn't any different than any other day. But we still don't know what the future holds. It's exciting to be here watching and sharing it with you. It's an exciting time to be alive. And it's been Ian with you here tonight.
And Bud.
And Cody.
Don't forget to check out Cody on his website, offtheairlive.com. You're going to be doing a new episode next week?
I'll be here.
Live. Excellent. We're looking forward to it, and we'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, you can join us over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget our satellite fundraiser. It's going on right now. Help us out over at fund.lrn.fm.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 10th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,366 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $600.